Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy Monday to you. This is, of course, your friend, your brother, in the lights here to support you with Awaken Sales, 3 steps to yes to transformation. So I'm going to be sharing this with you today. This is actually a tried, true, proven process to create more sales that I've shared for many years, and many people have learned from me, and those that have truly implemented have seen greater results and even profound results from utilizing this method. So, what we're going to talk about, these 3 steps could apply to any of your marketing, any of your sales. If you follow these 3 steps, you will see more sales if you actually just follow through on what I have to share today. Of course, with any system that's shared as a brief training, as these Facebook Lives are brief trainings, there is always so much more that I can share, and I do that privately, and I do that as well through other opportunities through various trainings that I offer throughout the year. So, but today let's go ahead and just get into it so that you can, as a coach, as a healer, as a trainer, whoever you may be, that you can utilize these steps and these processes right away. I really, literally, not that long ago, I saw one of my clients utilize this process for herself, for her team, and it took them from stalling out on sales to selling out with sales. I mean, just seeing sales after sales after sales each time. So it's definitely a process that you can implement and start using right away. Okay, so what are these 3 steps to yes to transformation? Now, again, I'm going to focus the conversation today on the aspect of doing one-to-one sales. When you're in that conversation with someone, um, and you're doing a discovery session or you're doing an energy scan, it could be another sort of sales call. It doesn't necessarily matter. It would change a little bit on how you would approach it in terms of details, but the structure could stay pretty much the same in most sorts of one-to-one sales conversations. And like I said, this actually works in all various marketing and sales, if you actually just implement it in whatever you're sharing. So the first thing is, like today, like what the subject we're talking about today. Well, I could start the marketing here by saying, boy, are you stuck? When we hear all these marketing buzz things, are you stuck in sales and everything? We've heard all these things before. Are you tired of hearing how maybe being asked the question, are you stuck in sales? You're like, yes, I'm tired of hearing, and I'm tired of being stuck with a sense of lower sales than I know that I could be enjoying. Then if that's true, then you're in the right place, right? So what we're doing here is we're starting to build a yes that you're no longer wanting that. We're building a yes to the transformation. So we're going to go through these 3 steps that builds this yes, um, so that a person can actually that's engaged with you can actually experience profound value and transformation on the spot without you even having to focus on gaining new sales, but that you're just being of service to them. And it just so happens that when you're at such great service to them, and when you do this process correctly, that people just tend to want to work with you anyway, because it just makes sense. Okay, so the first step, and you could go ahead and take these notes. We're not doing a webinar form, so you need to take some notes today. So the first step is to get a yes to the transformation itself. So when you're talking to someone, again, most of you are probably coaches or healers, but maybe you're doing something else. It doesn't matter, but you want to get a yes to the transformation, the opportunity that's hand, as soon as possible. So if you are doing a discovery session, if you're doing one of the things I like to do is energy scan consultations. If you're doing that they're looking for right now, whatever it may be, what they're ultimately looking for. What are they looking for? What do they want? There's something that they want, right? There's something that each of us yearns for. Even those of us are like, no, I just want to be in the awakened space, but you don't perceive that maybe you're completely in that awakened space. There's a sense of transformation that's at hand, right? So you can't get around this one. It's funny how spiritual people are very, very ingenious, try to slip around all these different things, but be square, just being really square with yourself and with the opportunity you're putting forth um, for them based on what you're hearing that they're wanting through a series of questions and or doing an intuitive energy scanning sort of process that I teach is brilliant. So you pick up all the different various pain points, the potentials they have, that are going on for them around a specific situation or maybe overall in their life or their business, whatever it is. But you're tuning into all those things, and then as you're gathering those things through questions or just sharing information or both, what happens is they're being with all these things. They're like, wow, this really, yeah, this is occurring to me right now with what you're saying. Or after you ask that question, what occurs to me is what I really want is this or that. So the first step is really just teasing out what is the yes. And progressively throughout the process, you keep asking people if they're a yes. So sometimes if I'm doing a process, for example, I'm going to do an energy scan for somebody on a consultation, I'll say, so this is how the process works. I'm going to tune into you. Then it works like this, like that. Whatever my process is, I outline it to them first. I say as we go through this process, this is how it's going to unfold. I say, is that okay? Is that a yes? Yes. Okay. So it's really building a rapport. It's just building rapport with people so that you feel safer, you feel more confident, they feel safer, they feel more confident. We're building a connection, a rapport, because it's all really about trusting yourself and the other person trusting themselves, and then mutually building a bond and an energy of trust and connection. So as we're doing this, it's just about being willing to take the time to build that, rather than look at it as some weird sales process. I've got to do these steps, and the steps I'm giving you just support building connection, building energy, building the opportunity for them to have a transformation on the spot. So first thing is just building that rapport and that yes, just yes, okay, yes. Does this sound true to you? What I hear from you as we're talking right now, I'm hearing this from you, that you want this, you don't want that. Is that true? Is that a yes? Yes. Things like that. So as you're going through the process, you continue to build yeses and you get it really clear. One of the things I like to get really clear in this process of getting just the yes to transformation itself is the first step. Like, just are you yes to even wanting change? People may not want change, right? They might say, yeah, these are my issues, but I don't know if I want to change. Is it progressively to keep asking them, are you yes? Are you yes to this? Are you yes to that? And then as you get further into the process, is you want to make sure that you identify really what is, so of all these things you could start in the beginning or somewhere in the process. You want to ask, what is the number one thing that's going on for you that you absolutely is challenging you the most, or needs to be removed the most. And they'll tell you, they'll give it to you in their own words. What's the number one thing that'll be possible for you if this was removed from your life? What are the potentials? What's the number one thing you'd like? And they'll tell you. And then you say, okay, great. Well, the first thing, any way of gaining what you want, you have to say yes to it, right? I mean, we know how it works, right? You're not going to, typically gain what you want to gain in your life without, at some level, saying yes to it. So you say, okay, well, do you actually want these things to happen in your life? Yes, I really do. And then you want to hear sincerity. You want to hear their energy rising. So what I'll do often is I'll really be tuning in to having a conversation with them. Oh, I hear you, but are you really ready? I mean, do you have any reasons why you wouldn't want to allow these things to happen? And right now, because honestly, the minute you start saying yes to this, it's happening, and it's happening now. And because it's true. It does. So you're building it, and we want to collapse space and time and bring something quicker into fruition and for transformation for the people we're here to help, that we're so on fire about, right? So if you're doing something that makes a world changing difference, you want to bring people to that yes as soon as possible, and start bringing it into their life, as soon as possible. The best timing. So you want to collapse that time and space, get them really present. That right now could be the time if they would just choose it, right? meaning whatever is afoot, there's something that wants to change right now. What is it? Being accurate about that, being clear about what it is and what it isn't, and really going through the process of really identifying that to them through a series of yeses and nos. Well, it sounds like you're not wanting this, but you're wanting that, right? So it's just like, go into any good salesperson we've ever talked to, or someone just trying to offer something to us when we go buy shoes or something. I said, would you like blue? Would you like red? What would you like? We have to figure out what those things are. So it's a matter of really letting the person that you're trying to help to educate you on what they're really wanting, and us listening and us tuning in too intuitively to understand what they're really saying. So when we nail it that they really want this change, you say, great. So you want it, and do you want it now? Do you want this change, and do you want it now? You know, and then you listen, but you want to listen with your whole body, your whole being. You don't want to just listen to what they say. If you sense, they say, oh yeah, sure, but what's the cost? Right? They start going, that doesn't matter. You're 100% focused on them just being a yes. Listen, irregardless, if you ever worked with me, I actually don't care about that in this moment so much right now. All I'm really focused on right now is, do you want this change right now? Do you want to change? Do you want to be, if you're stuck with sales where you are right now, like, are you wanting to be done with this finally? Like, are you really a yes? Are you yes now? Are you going to keep putting it off? You're going to keep running around it? Let me know. I mean, just yes or no. I'm just asking, where do you want to go with this? And let them tell you. You're not selling them anything. You're just asking questions. Just you're just really asking questions so they can decide for themselves. So they can decide for themselves what's true. Okay, what do you want? You said you wanted purple, now you say you want red. What is it? Is it red? Is it purple? What do you want? It's the same thing. It's just like, what do you want? What's true? Do you want purple today, or do you want it tomorrow? I mean, do you want it never? Do you want to just wait and see whenever the purple shoes might come up on the shelves, or whatever. So whatever the thing is you're offering, do you want it? Do you want it right now? Because we're going to find a way to let that happen. So because when you're clear about it, it will happen. So it's that education piece that we bring to people, right? You, as somebody being so spiritual, you'll understand that these are the teachings we want to share with people. If you'll be a yes right now, you know that you can bring that into your life right now, right? You can ask them, and chances are they'll sense like, yeah, probably, I don't know, but let's just say that it could happen. Let's say it could happen. If you believe that it could happen, could you be a yes to that? Yes, yes, yes. And then they start feeling like it's possible, right? You're building it up so that it can happen for them. And you just want them to be really clear that they're ready to let it happen. They want it to happen right now, and that and they're clear about what they want to see happen, more or less. In that moment, they're clear what it is that they're wanting, what they're not wanting. You're just getting them to be a yes to it. And so, as we get to that point, if you do that part well, a lot of the other things just seem to fit. To me, I'm just first, are you yes to transformation? You're going to work with me. Am I a fit? Are my services a fit? Are you going to be willing to invest your money into it, your time, whatnot? Okay, those are other questions. But let's take it one step. Do you actually want it? Are you ready for this right now? Okay, great. And a lot of the objections come up anyways as you ask these initial questions. Well, I'd like to, but I don't know how much your services cost. Well, that doesn't matter. Now, like, do you just want it to be a yes? Well, I don't know if I have the time. Well, okay, let's talk about that now. Let's not get into your objections later and to why you don't want this to happen. It's because you're concerned about whatever, all these different things. So let's talk about it now. Because if you're just a yes to transformation, the details tend to work themselves out, right? So one way or another, the details will work themselves out. So you want to make sure that they get to be a really strong yes to the opportunity ahead and realize it can happen now without having to sort out in their minds how it would happen. That's right. That's not how we manifest. We manifest by getting clear, being really clear about what's true for ourselves. So we're just focused on getting to the truth of what is the transformation that wants to happen. So that's the first step. So that's the biggest one right there. The second step is, are you a yes to my services? How not how I help you, but to me and my services. So that'd be the next step. So let's say you're stuck in sales. So let's say you say, okay, I'm done with being stuck with sales. I want to start making grand or 200 or 300 grand a year or a million or whatever it is, great. Okay, great. So you're yes to that. Okay, well, I start to evaluate. We start to evaluate, is it a match for you to work with me or my organization or whatever I have to provide? So then you say, okay, well, it seems like we met for a reason, and I'm so glad to hear that this is happening. Celebrate it even right now. And so, does it feel like a fit for me to be of support to you in allowing this to happen? Does it seem like it's a fit for me to be of support to you in allowing this to happen? And, you know, after you've supported them so well in the first step, they're going to naturally tend to feel like that's true. And the angels start singing. This is where, literally these three steps really, really kind of, it's all one, right? It's one to the whole idea of how do we manifest. Like, okay, do I have the money to do something? Bad question. Do I have the capacity to have this in my life? It'd be a bad question for manifestation, right? I don't know. Your mind's going to say, no, you can't have that. That's what it believes already, right? That's what's keeping it from manifesting. So, what we want to do is just, okay, in the second step, again, just taking it back to the basics, is does it feel like, I'd be somebody that'd love to have support you and feel like a right fit? So far, I mean, just up to this point, okay? And then usually you're always going to get a yes because, okay, that feels true to me, all right? So you don't want to get their mind like off on a tangents and drama and concepts. You want to just take them one step at a time. So if, so it is actually very a natural conversation. It's a very natural, loving, beautiful conversation, very empowering, that take people from very stuck places to transformed on the spot. That they see changes even before they start working with you, receive your product or service. So they say, okay, yeah, yeah, I think so, or yes, absolutely. And then next step is on the actual services. So, okay, great. Well, you said you want to see this change. You want to have these things in your life, or you want to have these changes. Great. So I take you through my 6 month program or whatever it is. And what we do is we start eliminating, what you said you want to eliminate. And we do this, we do that. Everything you're talking about is geared towards what they just told you. Everything they just told you they want to see change. There may be enhancements. There may be additional things. You say, oh, and by the way, you'll actually also get this. But you speak to the things they've already spoken about, and it's just no brainer. It's just common sense things to share. You don't go on about, this is going to alter your DNA. Let's spend, 10 minutes talking about how it changes your DNA, when what they care about is if it changes their life, right? It's going to change, give them the transformation you just talked about. Is it actually going to support that? So you focus all of it on how it perfectly supports the transformation they just said yes to. So go through that, and then you just tell, yeah, okay, it's 6 months. We do X amount of calls, or it's delivered this way. All those usual, what we call always the features, the features, how it works, how it unfold. And then, okay, great, that's how it happens. And what are the things, quick, there's many more pieces to this to enhance this process. But one is there something that you offer that no one else does offer? So if you're doing a DNA clearing that no one else in the world offers, at least to your knowledge, you want to mention it. It's the only process in the world that clears the DNA the way I do it. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If it's something that's calling to them as a soul, it's going to somehow resonate. They're going to be like, wow, that's exactly what I've been saying I need, right? And that it comes to the packages to the right people, the right time, based on it's just by that synchrodestiny, right? That we've created for they've created for themselves, and you're creating for them by showing up, by being willing to be of service to them in this process. So this is how it's done. These are the extra things, and I do a couple of extra things that most people wouldn't provide. A lot of what people are looking for is, am I going to be really supported? Am I going to get what I desire from this? Those are two of the biggest things. That's probably like 80-90% of it. And so you just share it and you say, okay, great. So does that feel like a fit? Does that seem like it would? I mean, just intuitively, just feel good. Just feel like that would support you best. Then you're going to get probably yes, because they already just are connected with you. So probably, unless you say something really kind of strange, it's going to sound like exactly what they need, and it will be, because if you're being in integrity, you really feel you can help this person, then this is going to be true, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't say those things. Of course, you never say anything that's untrue. You're going to speak to your truth, to the truth that you know about your services, how you can help them, and how impactful and how transformational it'll be. And they'll feel that, they'll sense that, and they'll say, I want that. That's what I want. That sounds about right. And so then you ask, you're diligent, you ask, well, and that now, do you have any other questions before we get to the third step? The third step, by the way, is the yes to the investment. That's, are there any other questions? Do you have any other questions? Are there any other concerns? Are there questions about it other than investment? The investment, is the last thing. It's like the detail that, of course, we have to navigate. We want to make sure everything else is fitting for you so far. And you want to hear what the problems are. If they have other concerns, you want to know about those things. You very much want to. You don't want to hear, oh no, I don't have any other concern. They do. You want to hear the truth. You want to listen with your whole being, your whole body. You really want to hear what's going on, because those are exactly the same things that are going to stop them from having what they want. Not whether they hire you or not, right? So they're usually the same things that have been stopping them. So, oh, well, I'm really worried about what my partner is going to say, or I'm worried about what my family will think, me doing this sort of thing. There could be so many concerns. What concerns do you have? You want to know all of them before you get to the bottom line, because all those other things that are invisible to them sometimes, but invisible to you in this process working with it, you have no idea. So you got to keep asking the question: is there anything else? I would just love to see to review every other possible issue, and then we take a look at the investment. But if these are other issues in the way, then we know that you're just not likely to want to proceed, is what I found. So tell me, do you have any other concerns? So you can tell them things like, just say the same way I just did. And they'll tell you, okay, well, I am concerned. I'm concerned if I'm visible, I'll be killed again in this lifetime doing this work. If they're a coach or healer, why you supporting them in some way? Or whatever it is. I'm afraid that maybe I'm not worth it, or maybe this won't work for me, or now, okay, wow, they still don't believe. Okay, so what's that about? So you just naturally ask whatever questions you need. You help them to overcome that, so they themselves, like, I listen. I don't care ultimately if you work with me or not. That I don't care, but are you? I want to see you have the change. I mean, if you want to have the change, so you want to have this change, yes. Okay, so let's do it. Okay, so are you yes, or you're not a yes? Now, if it gets too cumbersome at some point, you may need to let someone go. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you may need to let somebody go. There are many times that I haven't even told them what the investment is, because it didn't matter. It just, like, you could tell they're just not ready. They're not ready. So you go through it, and if you hold presence and take a stand for somebody and keeps, no, you can't have this. That's a bunch of false beliefs. Do you really think that's true? That's one of the things I like to ask. When they come up with their false, do you really believe that? I mean, really, really? No, I don't. Then you got to be a no to that. You might give them a little quick training on that. Like, here's how you can shift that belief, that mindset. Just shift that. And there's so many ways we know how to do that, right? So you got to shift that mindset, and you help them right on the spot. So you're helping them irregardless if they work with you or not. And I looked at the whole process as service. The whole process is about helping them right now as fast as possible. Transformation right now, I always say. It's transformation right now. The rest, okay, you want the rest, great. If you don't, then that's fine. I'm doing my job right now by making sure I do everything I can to make sure that you're yes to what you want. That is true, the greatest service we can do. So service is great service in this sense, is what it's all about. And if you're doing great service in this way, then you're going to continue to do this, basically working with people, especially if you're a healer or coaching or doing personal service. You're going to continue to be working with them in such a way, and they're taking notice of how diligent and how thorough you're being. And how would it be to have a very high close rate with these conversations, where you have 50 to 100%, or whatever percent would excite you, of the amount of clients coming in. Well, you increase your percentages. You do all these things I talk about properly. There's other systems and other ways people talk about doing these things, and most of them are not as thorough as how I do it. And when you do it more thoroughly, people get more out of it. And whether they work with you or not, and it just so happens more people will work with you. Your percentage will definitely increase. So the bottom line is those are the first two steps. You're very diligent in all those things, and either get yeses or nos ultimately to all that. We get it. We're okay. We're yes to all these things, right? We're yes to the transformation. We're yes to the services, and to me, support. Me being a support to you. Got all the yeses there. Okay, now it's a yes to the investment. So, okay, and I think all of us could know the psychology of this. We could all, if we're all sharing our services with each other, we could all use it with each other. We'd all laugh, and we'd all see more sales because this is a helpful thing. How I share how to do this step really is helpful, really, really helpful. So what you can do is you can tell people because most people I talk to feel what they have to offer often is priceless, right? So you say, well, this is a priceless offer. You getting what you want, is really priceless. And so of course, I could charge $1 million. I could charge $100,000 for this or whatever. And I'll say things like that, and they know I'm just. I'll even tell them I like to have fun. I like to make this more lighthearted. But so yeah, it's price. It could be millions of dollars. It could be $1 billion. Or but literally, as you're kidding around, it helps them relax. They start to realize, it could be. It's just all big a game. This money thing. They understand that, right? And then I might say something like, okay, well, normally it could be it's 30,000 or whatever, right? But right now, it's just 5,000 or whatever. I mean, whatever. I'm just throwing numbers around. So whatever it is, you say, well, but right now it's just X. So there's many strategies you can use with pricing, but just as one technique alone will help people to, if done well, again, you have to do it well. Just be yourself, just be natural, just be lighthearted. Don't make a big deal out of the investment, and I just say, hey, it's just blank. If you're not making a big deal out of it, they're not going to tend to make as big of a deal out of it, right? So and then either they'll say yes or I don't know how to do that, but I want to do it. Or I'd like to think about it. I like to meditate on it. You get all those things. Those things can happen. Or let's say someone, I can't cover everything today, all right? But we need to wrap this up in a couple minutes. But I just realized how much time already went by. But one technique I could tell you that does work really well with this, maybe we'll do a whole section on this someday, is if you have people when they say, well, I really have this commitment to saving more money right now, so I really couldn't work with you right now, as it turns out. You just spent like maybe 45 minutes, an hour with them, and you're really like, oh my God, you were so much yes, now you're telling me you were more interested in saving money? This is crazy. Maybe a dance technique, I don't like this. Let's just get to the bottom line, and they tell me they afford it or not. But what you can do, it often can work, is you say, well, that's great. I think that's so wonderful. You have that commitment. It's so amazing. And I mean, it's something so neglected, savings. Let me ask you a question. So, it's okay? Is it okay if I ask this question? Yes. Okay. So, is it more important to you to stay with your commitment to building your savings or not putting, more money on your credit cards, etc.? Or is it more important that you have the changes that you just told me that you want? What's more important? I'm just asking a question. What is more important to you, saving that money or having to transfer all what you said about this, and that? You're just asking. You're not trying like, oh, I'm going to show you you're not making a good choice here. It's a matter of letting them choose. They could say no, the savings is more important actually. Fine, but you got to ask the question. That's service. Don't expect people to get it. Don't expect people to get it. We have to help people to get it. People make crazy decisions all the time, that may not serve their highest good. So we're there to help them to make their own best decision, right? We've heard this so many times in sales, but we forget it. We forget that that's what it's really about, to help them make the best possible decision for them. So like, okay, you just said, that this was so important. You're ready. Then you told me savings is important to you. I get it. So what's more important to you, the savings or having this change? And most people are going to say they want the change, right? And then that usually will change their decision about whatever it is, whether it's about savings or um, about putting on a credit card or acquiring the money to do it, or I don't have enough time, or I don't know. It's just what are people going to think? Whatever. Like there's so many different things, but it usually will work just at one simple question: ask what's more important to you. So I share all and I share all these things with you freely. Usually, people are investing something to learn from me because it drives me nuts to see people to not see more results and more opportunity when if you just follow these three simple steps. Which there's more and more to it to master it. But if you utilize even some of what I shared today, you're going to increase the amount of people you can help. And that's what we're all about, right? So anyway, I'm up against my time limit maximum here for today. So if you'd like to learn more about this process, feel free to ask me questions and to engage with me. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I don't see anything coming in so far today. But I look forward to connecting further with you about awakened sales in so many different ways. I'll be back here again at 3 p.m. Central next week on Monday. And I'm grateful to share with you. Okay, much love, peace, and blessings. Goodbye for now. Have great sales.